Hi everyone, this is Farooq. In today's session, we are going to talk about a book and then we will discuss a subject which emerges out of the main theme of this book. The book I am referring to is Crime and Punishment. It was written by a very famous Russian author, Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky. This book was published in 1866 and it is considered as one of the best known works of Russian literature. Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky was born in 1821 and during his time Russia was undergoing a lot of internal conflict. There were a lot of problems in Russia. One main problem was that of widespread poverty. There were people who were living under very bad conditions, under financial burden and destitution. The other problem with Russia was the conflict between two different belief systems in the intellectual circles of the Russian society. To talk about these two belief systems, one of the belief system was the orthodox traditional Russian belief system based on religion, and the other belief system was based on the newly discovered or newly imported ideals of atheistic existentialism, nihilism, utilitarianism. Basically, these ideals were imported from the West, brought in by the Europeans. These new ideals or new principles basically taught that religion and metaphysical values do not hold any objective grounds, and therefore there's no such thing as objective morality. Do what you want to do as long as it makes you happy, because nothing matters actually. And these ideals rejected the traditional religious God and faith, etc. Fyodor Dostoevsky was living during those times, and he had a very difficult life. He had to see poverty, he had to see loss of his loved ones, he had epileptic seizures, he went to prison. So he had seen the dark side of this world, and obviously he was influenced by those aspects, and we can clearly see that he has tried to express those perspectives in this book. And Dostoevsky was known for his very deep psychological insights and his mastery over literature. In fact, Albert Einstein is said to have praised him a lot, and Einstein is known to have said that he has not received wisdom from any scientist as much as he has received from Dostoevsky. To quote him that Dostoevsky gives me more than any scientist, more than Gauss. And Gauss was a very famous mathematician and physicist. So Dostoevsky, just to give perspective about the author, just to give you an idea about the perspective of the author. And now coming back to the book, this book is a story of a guy called Raskolnikov. He is a young law student. He is very intelligent, but he is very poor. His family is facing a lot of financial issues. He has a mother and a sister, and they both write letters to him telling him about their problems. They both have sacrificed a lot for him. His mother is sick, and his sister is going to get engaged to a wealthy government official, not because she likes him, but only because she just wants to solve the financial problems of the family. And obviously, when he thinks about all these things, he's sad and he wants to do something about it. So then what happens is that he finds out about an elderly pawnbroker. A pawnbroker is someone who gives you money in exchange for some old valuable item. So he finds out about this elderly lady, and he finds out that she's rich, but she's a mean lady, not a good lady. She's very stingy. She cheats people through her pawnbroking schemes. and she has a niece whom she doesn't treat very nicely. She treats her badly. So basically he starts thinking about the whole situation and about this pawnbroker lady, and he thinks that, see, this pawnbroker lady is a useless burden on the world, and she has a lot of money which can be of good use to him. So he thinks that why not just kill her and take all her money, because why the hell not? And he starts rationalizing the whole thing and starts thinking about the whole thing. He says that, see, once he gets the money, he'll be able to study law, he'll be a good lawyer someday, and he'll contribute a lot to the world. His mother will be happy, his sister will not have to marry someone whom she doesn't like. So and no one will miss this old lady. So he's thinking about it a lot, and a lot of rationalization, a lot of justification is going on in his mind for this horrible act of murder. And there's a conflict going on in his mind with between this materialist thoughts, which are these materialist thoughts which are coming in his mind, and on the other hand, he says that the only thing holding him back is conventional morality, religious morality, an arbitrary sense of indoctrinated morality. So if you think about it, it's interesting, because this is symbolic of the conflict going on in the Russian society itself. So he goes to a pub to have a drink, and there he meets a guy called Marmeladov. Now Marmeladov is a drunkard, he's a jobless person, and he is in much worse situation than Raskolnikov. He is poorer than him. He has a wife and a daughter. Daughter's name is Sonia, and they are so poor that Sonia has to indulge in prostitution just to save the family from the financial problems. And when Raskolnikov finds out about this from this guy, he feels more sad. He gets sort of connected to this family, and he feels bad for this family, and he is now more sad about it. And then in the pub there are some people, some students who say that who talk bad about this pawnbroker lady. They say that if she's gone, people will be happy because they don't like her at all. So all these thoughts push him more towards committing the act of murder, and then he's like, okay, I have to do it, I will do it. So next morning he gets up, he goes to her house with an axe and just enters her room and kills her with the axe. Unfortunately for him, the pawnbroker's sister also enters the house, and then he has to kill her as well. So he killed two people, the pawnbroker and her sister, in a state of panic. He doesn't know what to do. He takes some money, not much, only some money, and then he rushes back to his apartment. He's not even sure if he has actually done it. He looks at his blood-stained clothes, and he realizes the horror of it. He's terrified, he's nervous. He hides the money somewhere. Days pass by, he falls sick. His activities become very suspicious. The police and a detective, they start suspecting him that something is wrong with this guy. They have their suspicions on him. Slowly and slowly Raskolnikov realizes that the pre-murder version of him and the post-murder version of him are totally different. He has killed his soul. He has, this whole act has taken a toll on his conscience, and he cannot live with it at all. He's feeling horrible. So what he does is that he goes to this family, Marmeladov's family, and he goes to Sonia, Marmeladov's daughter. Sonia is a very religious, devout Christian, and he confesses to Sonia about what he has done. So Sonia listens to him, and then she advises him that, see, look, if you want God to forgive you, you will have to turn yourself in to the police. You will have to surrender. He asks Sonia to narrate something from the Bible to him, and Sonia reads to him the story of Lazarus. Lazarus was a guy who was brought to life by Christ after he was dead for 4 days, if I'm not wrong. So Christ brought him to life, brought him back from the dead, and this story is symbolic in the situation because Raskolnikov's soul is dead and he is looking for a chance to renew a renewed opportunity. He wants to revive his soul. He's looking for redemption, and in that sense this story is symbolic. Initially he is a little reluctant. He's like, no, I'm not going to the police. But then he gives into it, and then he says, okay, I'm going, and then he goes to the police station and surrenders. And then there's a trial, and then he's imprisoned for 8 years, and that the whole thing serves as a redemption process for him. And when he comes out, he goes to Sonia and asks for forgiveness. And so that's a different direction of the story. But if you look at it look at the situation of Raskolnikov and think about it, like what's going on. So there are certain questions that arise from this whole situation that Dostoevsky wants us to think about and ponder over. You see, if you think from the point of view of only atheistic and materialistic thinking, there was nothing irrational about Raskolnikov's arguments. Raskolnikov's arguments were quite convincing for the act of murder. There was only good for him. There was a good life that he could have gotten from the money, and nobody would have missed that mean old pawnbroker lady. So the question arises then, can a purely materialistic and atheistic rationality give rise to moral values? Because there was nothing irrational in Raskolnikov's argument. So can a purely atheistic rationality give rise to moral values? And I like Professor Jordan Peterson, who is a Canadian psychologist, clinical psychologist. He interprets this in a very beautiful way. He says that, you see, if you take away the foundation, it cannot remain intact, hanging in the mid-air. And the moral foundation of our society and of our culture is predicated on the idea of God, on the idea of a transcendent, a metaphysical value, which can be found in religion, in faith. And you cannot take away that idea and expect the structure of society and culture of society to remain intact, hanging mid-air. That cannot happen. Of course, there's lots to criticize about religion, there's lots to criticize about orthodoxy, there's lots to criticize about religious institutions, man-made institutions in the name of God. So I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with religion, and also I'm not arguing for the existence of God. I'm not saying that I'm not arguing for the existence of God. That's a separate topic altogether. All I'm arguing for is a transcendent value which can be found in the idea of God, that serves as a foundational basis for our society. And by the way, I'm also not criticizing rational thinking. Rational thinking is very important. In fact, it is the most important tool that we have to assess and analyze any situation. I'm not questioning that. I'm only questioning the role of purely materialistic, purely atheistic reasoning in achieving moral goals. That is the only thing which Dostoevsky wants to highlight here. In this book, Crime and Punishment is the story of a guy who was raised religious, but then he left his faith due to multiple reasons: death of his father, poverty, and all the problems in his life. He abandoned God and turned towards this purely atheistic, nihilistic mode of thinking. And then he tried to arrive at moral judgments based on this thinking, and that's where there's something problematic happened, and he took a wrong turn. And then he had to search for a redemption. So, much before he committed the murder, actually, his mother got suspicious of his way of thinking and once wrote to him in a letter. And this is very interesting. She says that She says, "Do you still say your prayers, Rodia?" as she liked to call him. "Do you still say your prayers, Rodia, and believe in the mercy of our Creator and our Redeemer? I am afraid in my heart that you may have been visited by the new spirit of infidelity that is abroad today. If it is so, I pray for you." So on this note, I end this session. I hope you guys liked it. I will be more than happy to receive your comments, your suggestions, and your feedback on it. Thanks a lot. Bye.